Welcome to a new planetary and seismic update. We look at the SGI graph from the previous time frame. I emphasized Venus, Saturn, Neptune in a near alignment throughout this time frame. Also Mercury, Mars, Neptune on the 6th. And we had the full moon, and leading up to the full moon we had considerable seismic increase, as I discussed in the previous update. That was right here around the 1st of April. Let's have a look, also look at the Moon, Earth, Venus opposition here later on the 3rd. This is significant while Venus was in a near alignment with Saturn and Neptune. We see temporal clustering of stronger earthquakes, mid 5, high 5, borderline 6 magnitude, around the time that the moon was in its opposition here with Venus. We see the full moon, we had the large earthquakes there. You can look up the previous update if you want to see the details on that. And with the convergence on the 6th, we see a seismic response 5.9 at the Pacific Antarctic ridge and an additional 5.6 on the 8th, and that's all the stronger seismic activity that we had in the second half of this time frame. Even the moon in its alignment with Jupiter so far did not result in stronger seismic activity. So let's have a look at the next time frame up until the 19th. We're going to have quite some planetary and lunar geometry coming up, considerable convergence also. Tomorrow it starts with Mercury making a right angle with Venus and Earth. This is significant geometry. And then starting on the 12th, from the 12th to the 14th, Venus is heavily involved with significant geometry, while Earth is going to be in alignment with Mars and Neptune. The Moon is making 45 degrees with Saturn on the 12th and 135 degrees with Jupiter. And on top of that, we have Venus making a right angle with Mercury and Neptune. Let's have a look how that is in the solar system. Earth in alignment with Mars and with Neptune. You can see that right here. And Venus specifically 135 degrees with Earth, 135 degrees with Saturn and with Neptune. Venus is still in a near alignment with Saturn and Neptune at the same time, within half a minute. And then we also see Venus at making a right angle with Mercury and with Neptune. And this is all happening from the 12th to the 14th. Venus is very much involved here, and this is also significant for the Earth. Then we're going to have quite some lunar geometry coming up on the 15th, and that's because the planets Mercury, Neptune, Mars and Saturn are still grouped in the same region in space. This is similar to what we had before the full moon, when the moon made oppositions with those planets. Let's have a look at the solar system. This time towards the new moon, we see that the moon aligns with Mercury, Mars, Saturn and Neptune, the planets that are grouped in the same region in space. And as a result, later on the 15th to the early 16th, we have lunar conjunctions, pretty tight convergence, and we're probably going to see a seismic response in the typical higher 5, borderline 6, maybe even larger, following that geometry around the 16th, give or take 1 day. Then we already had Earth, Mars, Neptune on the 13th in alignment. Then we're going to have from the 16th to the 19th additional planetary alignments coming up. Earth is pretty much involved here. On the 17th we have the new moon. Let's have a look at the solar system. Here is the Earth going to make a new moon here on the 17th, but look what's going to happen here. Venus in a near alignment with Saturn and Neptune on the 16th, half a minute. Mercury, Mars, Saturn on the 16th in an alignment. Earth, Mercury, Neptune on the 17th in an alignment. Then we have the new moon. Then we have Mercury, Sun, Jupiter. Jupiter is on the other side, but Mercury is on the other side of the Sun, making an opposition here with Jupiter heliocentrically at the same time that this convergence is going on. Very, very significant. And then lastly, Earth, Mars and Saturn on the 19th, also in an alignment. Here's the Earth, there is Mars, and there is Saturn. And that alignment, Earth, Mars, Saturn, is often followed by stronger seismic activity, mid to high 6 magnitude, and that could be around the 20th, give or take 1 day. This is significant geometry, quite a convergence. We see a high red peak indicating the involvement of Mercury. We have the high lunar peak on the 15th. I expect stronger seismic activity there. And then from the 16th to the 19th, that's going to be really critical. We have the moon also on the 19th, 45 degrees with Saturn, 45 degrees with Jupiter, and in between a conjunction with Venus and also in conjunction with Uranus. So taken as a whole, I think from the 17th to the 21st, that is probably going to be the most critical time, and we could see a considerable seismic increase, and in a worst case scenario possibly a higher 7 magnitude, maybe larger earthquake following that geometry. This is quite a convergence and we have to be on extra alert at that time. Check out the updates on the website and also our social media. Stay safe everyone, and until next time.